Context paragraph. Written in 1941 during World War II, Borges wrote The Garden of Forking Paths. An Argentine poet and author, critically acclaimed for his complex literature of the 20th century. A story written about how time, fate, and choices can impact the outcome of a story. The story tells us about Yu San, a Chinese spy who explores the premise that time and reality are not linear, but rather a labyrinth of options and possibilities where each action has several possible results. During the 1940s, World War II, and the post-war state caused a lot of worldwide turmoil or global chaos, which encouraged artists and authors like Borges to use the current global state as inspiration to explore difficult topics regarding reality, parallel realities, and human existence.
Yu Sun, a Chinese spy, was on call with Captain Richard Madden. Yu Sun had discovered the name of the exact site of the new British artillery park on the Anchor. He imagined a plane throwing bombs all over France. He developed a plan and found the person who could spread the information, Dr. Stefan Albert. He was determined because he had to prove to the Madden that his race was capable of saving his armies. On his way there, he sees Richard fleeing, and a child tells him to take every left to get to Albert. His grandfather wrote a novel based on a maze no one ever found. Yu Sun walked until he met Albert. The book was infinite, and Albert had thought that that meant that the book ran in a cycle, where the last and first pages were the same so that the book would repeat. However, the sentence, "I leave to various future times, but not to all my garden of forking paths," had made the message clear. When a person makes a decision, they choose it at the expense of all other options, meaning that there are endless futures. One decision creates a web opening up more and more as it advances, and each option has its own web, which has its own web, etc. The main concept was that any future is possible with infinite versions of people and the relationships between them. At the end, Yu Sun shoots Albert and gets arrested by the Madden, who locks him up. After the secret of the city was exposed, Berlin was bombed, and news spread that someone had killed Albert. He had successfully delivered his message, and only his chief knew who had done it.
Jorge Luis Borges' short story, The Garden of Forking Paths, highlights the consequences and the infinite possibilities of human choices. Borges explained that reality is not linear, but rather a labyrinth that contains many options and possibilities that each has numerous results. Video game companies in the modern days have used Borges' idea to create interesting ways to interact in the story of many games. A good example of this is a story game called Detroit Become Human. In Detroit Become Human, the player is given multiple choices in the story scenario, and depending on the user's choices, the ending and the whole flow of the story gets impacted. Borges' idea also shares similar aspects to how AI processes. AI and chatbots generate numerous different choices and possibilities depending on the questions asked, and narrows it down to one outcome before it gives us the answer, which is similar to Borges' idea of infinite paths. Although many things have changed since Borges released his novels, his ideas and visions still remain relevant until these days in many different aspects.